Well, good morning, Spartanburg. I'm coming to you live from the Midtown Fellowship right next to the United Way here in Columbia, South Carolina. And I just want to express my gratitude to the United Way for inviting me to share some remarks with you today. I also want to thank Wes for the introduction. Wes, I didn't get to hear it, but they tell me they recorded it, so I'll have to check it later. But thank you, Wes. I also want to thank all my BB&T and SunTrust and Truist teammates who are with us today. And I also want to thank Paige for inviting me to be with you today. Paige, as you know, is your president and CEO. And I also want to thank your board chair, Lori McMillan from Spartanburg Regional Health. As you know, BB&T and SunTrust agreed to merge over a year ago, and we closed the transaction early this year. And we are now part of Truist Financial Corporation. And this was going to be the beginning of our merger journey, the beginning of putting the two companies together. And then the pandemic hit. And then racial injustice and inequality and social unrest hit. And it kind of threw us all off a bit. But we've managed to persevere. We're still on track for the merger to get to client day one, which we now expect to be the first quarter of 2022. That's when the name BB&T will go away and SunTrust will go away and all the buildings will say Truist on them. Both BB&T and SunTrust have a long commitment and heritage to the United Way throughout the entire footprint, which basically goes from the Mid-Atlantic all the way down to Key West, all the way over to Texas. And we're involved in every United Way in every one of the communities that we serve. And we're proud of that service. Earlier this year, as you may be aware, Truist donated a $7 million grant to the United Way Worldwide COVID-19 Community Response and Recovery Fund to help local United Ways, including the United Way of the Piedmont. This donation was part of the Truist Cares Initiative, which Truist pledged to donate $50 million to help rebuild communities affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Truist and United Way clearly share a vision for a better America, one in which every person is respected, every voice is heard, and every community thrives. We can't rebuild without a commitment to opportunity, and this is part of the mission, this is part of the purpose of the United Way of the Piedmont around health, education, and financial stability for all. Let me take you back to 1975. In the fall of 1975, I went to work for that was my first job in the banking industry, was in 1975. And I was going through signing up for benefits and all those kinds of things. And the next thing I know, somebody placed a United Way pledge card in front of me. And I really wasn't familiar with United Way, so I had them explain it to me. So I immediately signed up to be what was known as a fair share giver back in 1975. And so for the last 45 years, I've been donating and supporting the United Way in all the communities that I've had the pleasure to work in. As you can probably tell, I'm not from here. But you know what? I got here as soon as I could. And Julie and the family and I have been living here since 1991. This is the longest we've lived anywhere in our entire lives, and we consider South Carolina to be our home. And we're very proud to be citizens of this state. So for the last 45 years, I've been involved in United Ways in lots of different ways. I've chaired boards in different communities. I've had the opportunity to chair campaigns in different communities, including here in Columbia. I had the honor of chairing the United Way of South Carolina board for 2 years, 10 or 15 years ago. And so I've got just a real love for the United Way and the work that it does. And one of the things I think the United Way does best throughout America and in Spartanburg and in Columbia is it identifies what I call the invisible people in our communities. The people that most of us here at this meeting this morning, we don't get to see. We pass them by every day. We probably don't pay a lot of attention to them. But one thing that teams of the United Way do is they go out and find those invisible people, those people who have great needs, whether they be mental, social, physical, financial, and find ways to help the invisible people in our communities. And I know that's happening in Spartanburg. I know it's happening in Columbia, and I know it's happening throughout communities in South Carolina. The other thing is that I feel that in lots of ways, all of us on this virtual meeting this morning have probably been blessed in ways that we can't even begin to count. And I'm always reminded that those who've been blessed have a responsibility to share those blessings with others that are less fortunate. And I think when we support the United Way, that we are in fact saying we've been a blessed people. Now we want to share those blessings with people who are less fortunate. And I think that's one of the more wonderful things that United Way does. The other thing I want to talk about is something I shared with my team recently, and I'm going to call it a level set. We needed a level set BB&T, SunTrust, now Truist. And I think probably the United Way, the Piedmont, has probably thought about doing some kind of level set in the midst of this pandemic, in the midst of all the social unrest. And I finally woke up one morning and I said, listen, I'm not sure when we're going to get back to the way it used to be. So I had a call with my team and I said, you know, I don't know when we're going to return to what we know as normal. It may be 6 months, it may be 6 years. I really don't know at this point in time. But what I know is this is the environment that we've been given to work in, to compete in, and hopefully be successful in. Therefore, forget about the past, recognize this is where we are today, and let's figure out how to be the very best we can be in this environment. Because we're learning new ways to interact with our clients, we're learning new ways to interact with each other. And Paige, I know that probably you and your team are going through much of the same kind of level set, just recognizing that this is the world we live in. And this is the world that we need to be successful and have an impact in throughout our communities. And then if by the grace of God we get back to where we used to be, you know, I think we will have learned some very important lessons during this. I think we'll learn new ways to communicate with each other, new ways to communicate with our clients, and new ways to communicate throughout our communities. And what I've learned is, you know, I can't travel around the state in a day and get on 10 calls with clients, but you know what I can do now? I can get on 10 virtual calls in a day with clients across the state. And I think everybody's becoming accustomed to that. Let me share that there's a real connect here between the mission of your United Way and the mission of Truist. The mission of the United Way, the Piedmont, is to connect, engage, inspire people to transform our community. I love that word, transform. And then the Truist mission is to inspire and build better lives and communities. So in essence, I think both Truist and the United Way, the Piedmont, have the very same mission. And I know that my teammates in Spartanburg are going to continue to work closely with your team, Paige, to help fulfill not only the mission of the United Way, but the mission of Truist. Let me close with something I want to share with you. I'm particularly excited about a national project that Truist is involved in, along with United Way. It's a new advertising which features America's first national poet laureate, 22-year-old Amanda Gorman, and her original poem, Live United, which was inspired by United Way and all that you can achieve when we live united for our communities. And she talks about, the kind of a clarion call for our communities. And what I want to show you is how we created this ad, and then to have you then hear the ad. And after we see that, I'll come back for a couple comments, and I think we're going to have some Q&A then.
Call into advance the force that only film grants, because when given a chance, one show, one movie can move the conversation, move the nation onward.
We selected Amanda Gorman because she's one of the most extraordinary voices of this new generation. Her work embodies unity and activism, optimism, it's bold, and it's really genuinely inspiring.
The vision we had from the very beginning was to use Amanda's words to unify an entire country. We wanted to bring people together, no matter what their background, how much money they had, or where they're from.
The end result is something that can only be achieved by working in amazing close collaboration between United Way, Strawberry Frog, and Truist.
2, take 1.
I was really excited to work with United Way on this project because I know they do such incredible things around the world, and that the work they do is incredibly necessary at this time.
United Way addresses our community's most difficult problems, and we've been at that for well over 130 years. It's our business, community impact. It's so refreshing now to see a next generation join the fight for community impact and live united.
Truist Financial and the United Way are both about results, driving real change. On a daily basis, Truist supports the United Way, and our purposes are so well aligned, inspiring and building better lives and communities. When I first saw Amanda, I knew we had to find a way to get her message, her essence to more people.
So due to COVID, we had to shoot this production remotely with amazing collaborators, both from the agency and client and the crew and the actors. I think they pulled through in a great way.
It's incredibly meaningful and powerful at this moment in time to create a film that's about coming together when we need it most and having a team that actually comes together to make it possible.
Being a part of this project felt really important, especially in the fact that the United Way is critical to a lot of communities across the country.
I edited remotely from home, taking and recording a live feed from the camera as I filmed.
Okay, let's stand by to try one.
While online with the team on Zoom.
Nice. Okay, perfect.
Okay, cut there.
Great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is so weird. This is so weird.
Doing this type of project from home while sheltering in place was a type of hands-on approach that I had never experienced before. It meant that things like lighting and camera angles and things like that had to be handled by me from home while working digitally with the team that was coaching me through all of the steps.
Thank you. Wonderful. Amanda, this was amazing. All your different takes and everything. Great.
Thank you, everybody. I can't believe you stared at Zoom with my face on it for like 7 hours.
Best shoot ever. Are you kidding me?
It's hard to hope, hard to cope with crisis.
But while we might be all alone, we've never been more tightly tethered, because we'll only weather this unknown
together. So we get to work. We mend, we don't break even when we bend. Somewhere, another mom pays her bills. Somewhere, another child eats his fill. We are the world's neighbors, making our communities brighter, greater, fighting for every person in the neighborhood. We, the coming of the common good, so dare to care. to be hope-sighted. We're never divided, for when we live to give, we always live united.